Hello SEO professionals and welcome back again to this basic to advanced level SEO course. It's a dream of the every website owner to get the organic traffic from search engines. But before a website gets the organic traffic from search engines, it must be crawled and indexed. Then this is where your website gets the organic traffic from the search engines. So in this tutorial today, we're going to discuss how you can get your website indexed in these big search engines like Google, Bing, or Yahoo. So before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon so that you get notified instantly for every new tutorial. Also, if you enjoy this tutorial, be sure to give it a thumbs up as well so as to support this tutorial and help others watch this tutorial on the platform. Alright guys, so let's dive into the topic right away. So before we talk about the indexing and crawling of your website, let me tell you how Google search works. There is a process behind every search result, right? So how does Google search work? Basically, there are three steps involved in this process. First of all, Google or any search engine's crawler find or discover a piece of the content. Then the search engine categorizes this piece of content within the relevant category. And in the third stage, the search engine serves this piece of content to relevant searches. The best example of this could be a library. Within a library, you see that every book is categorized within their relevant category. But how do you submit your website to the search engines to get it indexed or crawled? Well, there is a thing which you can do, and this is called the XML sitemap. So before we discuss how you can create an XML sitemap and how you can submit an XML sitemap to the search engines, let me define what is an XML sitemap. So an XML sitemap is a file that lists a website's important pages, making sure Google can find and crawl them all. It also helps search engines understand your website structure, and you want Google to crawl every essential page of your website. But sometimes pages end up without any internal links pointing to them, making them hard to find. A sitemap can help speed up content discovery. So, it's simply a list of all the pages on your website, which then you submit this file to the search engines, and after that the search engines crawler discover your content and it crawls from page to page, and then it categorizes these web pages in their relevant categories, and then the search engines serve these pieces of the contents to the searches. So now the real question is that how you can create an XML sitemap and how you can submit the XML sitemap to the search engines like Google, Bing, or any other search engine. Well, if you are using the WordPress, Shopify, or Wix, then on every CMS you will have the opportunity to use plugins. So for example, within the WordPress CMS you can use the Yoast SEO plugin, the RankMate SEO plugin. In Shopify there must be apes for this specific task, and on the Wix I think you may not need any additional plugin to use to generate the sitemap. But in our case we are going to discover, and I will share my screen with you so as to show you how you can create a sitemap within the WordPress CMS using the RankMate SEO. I personally prefer to RankMate SEO plugin, but you can also use the Yoast SEO plugin, all-in-one SEO plugin, and there's a whole bunch of SEO plugins which you can use, but it all comes down to your own preference. They all work, more or less the same. So at the end of the day, you need an XML sitemap. So every SEO plugin will provide you, an XML sitemap. And then I will show you how you can submit this XML sitemap to the search engine as well. Alright guys, so I'm here within my WordPress website, and I have opened the dashboard of my Rank Math SEO plugin, right? Like I said, you can use any kind of SEO plugin when it comes to SEO. So, for example, you can use the Yoast SEO plugin, all-in-one SEO plugin, but I personally prefer to Rank Math SEO plugin, right? So, but it all comes down to your own preference. So, feel free to use any of them. Everyone will provide you an XML sitemap, and you simply then need to submit it to Google Search Console so that your content, your web pages, blog posts can be crawled, indexed by Google. So now if we scroll down to the sitemap settings area, and when I click on settings, it will redirect me to the settings area, right? So where I can play around with all the sitemap settings. So I have already fixed everything over here, but the thing I want to show you is that here is how your sitemap URL will appear, right? So in our case, it's the clicktree.com/sitemap, you know, uh, index.xml. So if I just open this in a new window, you will see that this is what our XML sitemap includes, right? So what we need to do is to simply copy this link and then go to the Google Search Console, right? So I have already set up my property, and if you have not yet set up this property, just let me know in the comment section, so that I can show you how you can set up your own property within the Google Search Console, right? So on the left side of the screen, I need to click on the sitemaps, and if I want to add a new sitemap, I simply will need this piece of the URL like /sitemap underscore indexed dot XML, right? But first, like I have just copied all the URL, I will paste it as it is, then simply delete my domain name, right? So now I simply need to click on submit, and it's going to be submitted. Google will periodically process it and look for changes. You will be notified if anything else, goes wrong with it in the future. Okay, so that is how you can find out your XML sitemap URL on your website. Depending on the plugin you use, there will be a slight change in this piece of the URL. Like if you use the Yoast, I think they provide the sitemap .xml, and the rank math issue provides sitemap underscore indexed and then xml, right? So it does not matter, but you simply need to copy the URL and then post it over here. Okay. So as you can see, we have submitted the sitemap on June 26, 2022, and it has discovered 37 URLs, and the status is success. And that's how you can find out your sitemap URL and then submit this to the Google Search Console. And if you have not yet set up the property within the Google Search Console, just let me know so that I can record another video tutorial to show you how you can set up the property within the Google Search Console, right?